Welcome into SBR Closing Line for Saturday, June 22nd. He's Ian Cameron. I'm Drew Martin. We're going to be breaking down baseball, CFL for today. Throw out any other sports you want in the chat box. Not sure if we'll be too much of a help outside of that, but we can try. Ian Cameron on Twitter, @Bobano. Welcome in, bud. Happy Saturday morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Drew. Good to be with you here on the Closing Line, which is now going to be a potpourri of summer sports edition every Saturday. And by the way, this show will just be on Saturdays moving forward, 11 a.m. Eastern. But Saturdays for the next several weeks is going to be mostly baseball, CFL. From my standpoint, we'll be able to talk about that as well. That's pretty much what we're going to be looking at for the next several weeks. I mean, we're not going to have anything in the NFL and college football ranks. NFL preseason still a ways away in August. So it's pretty much baseball and CFL that we break down on Saturdays. Looking forward to it.
Baseball in CFL, it is Ian. You can follow Ian on Twitter @Bobano, myself Drew Martin Betts. Ian, we got Hamilton, Toronto. Hamilton -4.5 on the road. Short road trip, 52.5 being the total. We are going to talk that game, guys. Ian Cameron's actually going to it. But first up, we're going to be talking the MLB card. Yesterday was a fun night, Ian. Friday night, full slate outside of the Cubs game during the day, which the New York Mets, they're getting hot. They did win 5-4. That lineup's getting healthy there in New York for the NL team. Today's slate, do you want to start off anywhere in particular or just kind of hit different games along the way?
You know what? Just fire away some games, Drew, at me, and we'll go down the board.
Fire away. All right. Minnesota, we got Berrios on the hill, top of the card here, using SBR odds. Very much recommended. Full slate, guys, of pretty much all the offshore sports books and some Vegas sports books here. We got Minnesota -170-ish, total of 10 in this one. Going against the lefty, Danny Duffy for the Royals. I like Minnesota here. Ian, Berrios on the hill, one of the more upside pitchers in MLB with the Minnesota lineup and what the most profitable team in baseball in Minnesota. Just a matter to me is -170 a little too pricey. For me right now, it is. I haven't made a bet. Are you interested in this AL matchup at all?
This is a tricky one because we know the Royals are not great by any stretch of the imagination, but the Twins have been fantastic most of the season. But the Minnesota Twins, they've definitely hit a rough patch. I don't want to say they're going to fall off the map or anything, but, they were off to such a torrid start, such an unexpected strong start that you may be wondering that, they're leveling off just a little bit. It could be a concern moving forward. Just in general betting value theory, the time to be betting Minnesota was April and May when they were really taking people by surprise, really not getting the prices that they should have been at that time. Now they're being priced like one of the better teams in baseball right now. They are. You're not getting those bargain prices now like you did in April and earlier in May with this Minnesota team. And for as much as I like Jose Berrios, Drew, you know that. I've sang the praises of Berrios many times in past shows that we've done. He has a legitimate home road split that bothers me. He does. He's been a massive split guy in terms of his home and road performances. He's pitched for the most part pretty well at Target Field. It's not been quite as smooth for him on the road over the course of his career. Now, this year he's 3.53 ERA on the road. That's not bad at all, actually, but overall his performances on the road are a little bit more tricky to trust. The good news for Berrios is he's done pretty well against Kansas City. You look back at his most recent starts, he's gone 6 starts in a row where he's given up 3 runs or less against Kansas City. But Minnesota only 3-3 in those games against Kansas City. Duffy, on the other hand, he struggled a little bit his last start against Seattle, 4 runs in 5 innings, not great by any stretch. 4.31 ERA at home this season for Danny Duffy. You look at this Twins team, 296 batting average against lefties. I like that. They should match up against southpaws. They've done very good against lefty pitching all season, 6.4 runs per game. Tricky. I mean, I wouldn't want Kansas City in this game, Drew, but I just worry the value part of the equation with Minnesota's flown out the window at this point. I mean, they're now being priced like one of the better teams. So I just find myself having a tough time finding that value to back Minnesota, even though they might win this game.
Yeah, and it was just a matter of time if they kept playing the way they did before the markets would catch on and price them somewhat correctly in more recently here. We got a Neil in the chat box saying, "What's up, guys? Silver, welcome in. Happy Saturday morning to you." Ron Crawford with some spreadsheet plays. Looks like Minnesota in Seattle are two of the ones he's looking at. Washington, Milwaukee as well. Paco Healy, the Padres guy. He's our Padres expert here. He's looking at the Padres today. What Paddock comes back, Paco. So it minus about 110 to 120-ish range on the road against Pittsburgh. That's the Padres we're talking about. Tomar in the house, always with good opinions. He's going to keep betting the Cubs to win the division as long as I can get a plus price. Brewers pitching is trash. Doug Barnstone in the house as well. Morning. Yesterday sucked for him. Sergio Rodriguez in the house. Good morning to you. Ski Profit. What's up, buddy? Welcome in, man. Everyone in the chat box, let us know what you're betting. Let us know why. Feel free to market it however you would like. Baseball, CFL. If you got WNBA, any other sports, Gold Cup, Copa America going on as well in soccer. All of it bettable. As far as SBR odds go right now, Ian, we got Zach Wheeler in the Mets at the Cubs. The game we were just talking about in the chat box. Quintana on the hill, the lefty going for the Cubs. Minus 125 to minus 130 here. The Cubs at home. Zach Wheeler in the Mets underdogs. I'm not seeing a total as of right now because it is Wrigley Field, Ian. But are you interested in getting at the Mets and the Cubs for the back-to-back day game here?
Yeah, Mets and Cubs, definitely interesting matchup here. Definitely Zach Wheeler, a guy that can be so erratic. I mean, he really can't be. He's had so many starts where he's given up 1 or 2 runs, and then he's got starts where he gets absolutely crushed. So Zach Wheeler's just one of those guys. It's hard to make heads or tails of what you're going to get out of him game in and game out. Even Quintana's a little bit like that as well for the Chicago Cubs. He's got. We know that he's had some issues at times as well for the Chicago team. Right now, he's been actually pretty solid at home. 2.98 ERA for Jose Quintana at home. His day starts have struggled though. The Cubs are only 1-4 in his 5 day starts. It's a little bit of a concern for me. Wheeler on the road. I remember betting an over. I believe the last time Wheeler pitched on the road, he wasn't good. 5 runs, 10 hits to that red hot hitting Atlanta team earlier this week. Before that, he gave up 9 runs on 10 hits in the Bronx against the Yankees. 4 runs in Arizona. 6 runs in Washington. The guy has not pitched well on the road. Period. Zach Wheeler. So I would have to look Cubs or nothing here. Cubs, for the most part, have played a better their lineup's certainly been better the last few games. 7 against the White Sox, 7 in the opener against the Mets, 4 runs last night, albeit in a loss against the New York Mets. I'd probably lean to the Cubs here, but that's probably just a lean, not anything in terms of an official wager.
Okay, and Tomar's saying he's seeing a total at 8.5 right now. Another big one here, Ian. We got San Diego, Pittsburgh Pirates, Paddock versus Chris Archer. 9 being the total. Looks like minus 110 to minus 115, minus 116 at bookmaker right now for the Padres. This one has been bouncing around a little bit because there's interesting handicapping angles to it. Paddock got sent down to, I believe, high A. They're in California, the Padres affiliate in the minor leagues for an extended stay, maybe about 10-ish days or so. But it was kind of just more for rest than anything else. He was kind of lagging there his last couple starts, but he was on an innings kind of a watch anyway. They're trying to keep him around 150 innings for the season. So it kind of made sense there. Now he comes back on the road, young pitcher. As far as ceiling goes, he is as high as a ceiling as a lot of guys out there in MLB. Throws hard, tall, big kid, tough to hit, tough to see the ball coming out of his hand. But going against Archer at times has pitched well this season. Going against the Padres lineup on the road, not always the most kind of efficient offense out there. So there's kind of angles to both sides here. Do you have a feel sidewise in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to look towards San Diego here. Paddock, I think I don't know if Paddock's going to be great. Like, this is a very weird spot for him. Very weird situation overall here. He's returning 11 days. As you mentioned, he was sent down to Lake Elsinore, the high A ranks, just really to give him some rest. We'll see. He didn't even make a start down there. And that's the concern. Maybe he's rested, but you don't pitch in 11 days. I don't like that. That's a worrisome thing for me. But I don't like, as much as I'm concerned about Paddock going into this game, is he going to be sharp? Is just rest and not pitching for 11 days alone going to be what turns the tide? Because let's be honest, 3 starts in a row before he got sent down were brutal for him. Not good at all. 7.94 ERA is 7.53 ERA his last 3 starts. 13 runs allowed in his last 14.1 innings of work. So we'll see what he does. But having said all of that, Drew, I trust Paddock a little bit more than I trust Chris Archer. Chris Archer is, to me, I don't want to say the word shot because that means you can't ever get it back again. But I'm waiting and waiting to see Chris Archer in the Tampa days, and I'm not seeing it. He just keeps getting worse, not better. He got crushed the last two starts against Atlanta, gave up 7 runs in 6 innings. How about a feeble, light-hitting Miami Marlins team in his last start? He gives up 4 runs and 7 hits in 5 innings. Can't get out of the 5th inning against a weak-hitting Miami Marlins team. That's trouble. I know San Diego's offense can be a little inconsistent, but you've still got some good bats in there with Margot and Hosmer and Machado. And you've still got to navigate through some tough bats in that San Diego Padres lineup. So I don't trust Archer here. I've been betting a lot of Pittsburgh games over the total recently, a lot of Archer starts over the total. And I'm also going to look in that direction here because I don't want to be in a situation where Paddock, it does not pitch well, even though I think I trust him more than Archer. That's why I'm on San Diego. But it's kind of like insurance, Drew, where if he doesn't pitch well, I'm going to have the over in my pocket as well because I'm pretty darn sure San Diego is going to hit Archer. I don't trust Archer to shut down this lineup. I think San Diego will score their runs. The question is, does Paddock keep the Pirates off the board? And I think they can both still hit San Diego and the over because even if Paddock holds that Pittsburgh team in check, I think they'll score against Archer, and the Pittsburgh bullpen behind Archer's been bad. Like, this has been a horrible bullpen, underachieving bullpen. They were supposed to be a lot better than this. They haven't been. So I think San Diego can score something like 6, 7 runs in this game. All you need is a couple or 3 from Pittsburgh, and you get over the total. So I like the Padres. I laid the small road favorite price with them, and I looked over the total of 9 as well.
I agree with you. There's more angles pointing towards the Pods as well. And you bring up the bullpen. Good point there. We got Rod saying he likes the over of 9. And Neil in the house saying Archer has been having trouble after he gets through the lineup the first time around. Lean Padres. Hopefully Paddock is up for it. So sounds like a nice over, although we got a 2-1 game yesterday. That's from DJ Big Boss. DJ Big Boss in the house. Give him a follow on Twitter. He's a fun follow there. Also, he's got a bunch going on YouTube and a contest, an MLB handicapping contest. Ian, have you been in that at all?
There we go. Sorry, I had to unmute. No, I've heard about it, but I've not entered it yet or gotten into any, put any plays in for it. But I definitely might do that. DJ Big Boss, good on him getting the contest going. He's a good guy, and yeah, definitely check that out. SBR sportsbookreview.com. Make sure you check that out and enter it. If you're in any kind of baseball better, get involved in it.
Yeah, for sure, man. And DJ Big Boss, speaking of that, he'll be a guest on Monday on Betting with the Bag. I'll be hosting on Monday. Jimmy's taking a couple days off here in the summer months, and Ian Cameron will be hosting on Tuesday. So we're going back to back Betting with the Bags, Ian.
We are, and I've got some guests lined up, or at least one guest for sure lined up for the late show. I'll be doing both shows on Tuesday. Drew's doing both shows on Monday, filling in for Jimmy on Betting with the Bag. I'm doing both shows on Tuesday. 11 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. So yeah, you get 2 hours of me on Tuesday. Hopefully you're not ready to change the channel for good after that.
No, not at all. And you're going to be able to cover the CFL and baseball. It will be fun, man. Give out some winners in the chat box. Always live and Betting with the Bag. DJ Big Boss, me and Drew going to have a ball. Absolutely, man. I'm excited to have you on an extended stay, maybe Chipotle, something like that. Guys, we got CFL game coming up, but did want to talk one more with you, Ian. Cincinnati, Milwaukee, Castillo. That's Luis Castillo, hard throwing righty. I like him a lot versus Chacin, -120, 8.5, 9 being the total. This Cincinnati Reds team, man, won 6, 7 in a row, something crazy. They swept Houston. They're playing good baseball. A lot of unders, good pitching as well. You interested in getting involved here in this NL Central matchup?
Yeah, I'm going to be on Cincinnati here. The small underdog price. Obviously, Milwaukee, you got to give them maybe the slightest of home favorites as a home favorite here. Give them the slight edge just because of how good they've been overall, but especially at home, 22-15. But look, Cincinnati's found something. And when you can find these teams that just suddenly flip a switch, get hot, start playing good baseball, days in a row, get on a win streak, you can ride teams like this for, who knows how long. We've seen some big streaks in baseball. Remember what Oakland did last year or 2 years ago? It was
Oh yeah.
incredible streak, and you could have just been riding Oakland game in and game out, piling up just a ton of profits, just riding a team that all of a sudden catches fire. Now Cincinnati's got a long way to go to be that kind of Oakland streak, but you're liking what you're seeing right now. The lineup's hitting a lot better, top to bottom, 1 through 9 in this Reds lineup. Winker and Votto and Eugenio Suarez. And I think a big addition, too, for the Reds, and what's really Puig's been good, is when they called up Nick Senzel, one of their better prospects. That's really what got the ball rolling a little bit for Cincinnati. A lot of times teams are struggling, like Cincinnati was. They call up somebody that just gives them a shot in the arm, a little energy, a little adrenaline, a little momentum. And I think Cincinnati's been able to ride that. Senzel's played very well as well since he's been called up for the Reds. They've started to get a little bit better pitching. Their bullpen's actually been solid during this run. And they're winning games not just against the weak. They're beating good teams. They swept the Astros, Drew, as you mentioned. They've taken the first 2 games of this series against the Milwaukee Brewers, entering this game on a 6-game win streak. And I think they got the better of the 2 starters. I don't think that's even a question. Luis Castillo's been tremendous this season, 2.26 ERA. Now, the Reds are only 8-7 in his 15 starts, but again, a lot of those came early in the season. They were struggling. His road ERA has been very good, 2.58 ERA on the road. Has faced Milwaukee twice this season. Did shut him down in Cincinnati. A little bit of a rougher time the last time he faced them here in Milwaukee. But I don't know. Jhoulys Chacín's not a guy I'm all that enamored with right now. They sent him down. He was on the DL, came back in his last start against San Diego. He was really struggling before he got put on the injured list, came back against San Diego. He only went 4.2 innings, 2 runs, 6 hits, not great by any stretch. I don't know if I've seen Chacín ready to say that he's back on form again. And I think Castillo's the better of these 2 arms right now. Cincinnati's definitely feeling it, playing good baseball. Definitely, I think they're worth a bet here at the underdog price.
I'm with you. I guess Tomar brings up a point of Cincinnati caught Houston at the right time, and Milwaukee's been strong at home, and that is a good point. But Milwaukee's still minus 120, so I think it kind of shows in the price tag. I like Cincinnati here at this underdog price, but there is an argument to be made the other way. It's just I would rather be on the hot team riding the streak than on the other team, but it makes sense, and Tomar does bring up a good point there. Ian, let's open it up to the rest of the MLB board before we get to CFL. Did you want to talk any other games for the watchers?
In terms of baseball, let's see what we got here in terms of other games. Atlanta, Washington, that one smells like we could see some runs in it. Sanchez for the Nats and Fultonevich for the Braves. Problem is it's 10.5 though, so. These Atlanta totals are getting adjusted. They know this Atlanta team had gone on something like a 12-game over streak. And in fact, they were 18-5-1 to the over in 24 games prior to their last 2, which both stayed under. So it's caught up, with the Atlanta Braves in terms of their games going over the total. So that's the only issue I have with that. I think it could be runs. I don't trust Fultonevich. Anibal Sanchez has actually pitched pretty good for them, so I got to give him credit. And he did shut down the Braves the last time he faced them. So I lean over the total, but as soon as I saw 10.5, I'm like, that's a little bit too steep. I might look elsewhere. Baltimore, Seattle, Cashner and Malone. I'll tell you what, I know Baltimore's bad, really bad. And they showed that last night, obviously. They lost to Seattle, and they haven't been playing good ball at all season, but especially lately. But I may have to jump in and just hold my nose and take a stab at Baltimore here. Tommy Malone and the Seattle Mariners at minus 175. Are you kidding me? Are you serious with this? Are you serious with this shit here? Seattle with Tommy Malone minus 175.
Yeah, it's getting a little pricey on that. I just like how ridiculous. You said hold my nose and take the Orioles.
Baltimore's atrocious. There's not a redeeming quality. Okay, they can hit a little bit at times. That's the only good thing Baltimore can do. They have no starting pitching. Their bullpen is one of the worst relief corps in Major League Baseball. They play horrible defense, a ton of errors. They don't situational hit. Chris Davis is a perfect example of that. You get a guy on third with 1 out and Chris Davis at the plate. You know what's happening. The K, down he goes. He doesn't get that runner in. Just situationally, they're just fundamentally, they don't play good baseball. this Baltimore team. But I'm talking about Seattle, who's not really all that great themselves. They already traded Edwin Encarnacion earlier this week to the Yankees, so they're clearly going to be sellers coming up at the trade deadline. They're already showing signs that they're waving the white flag. You're going to put them with Tommy Milone on the mound, a middling lefty who's been bounced around from team to team out there as a minus 175 favorite. And it's not like Seattle's bullpen's been all that great this season. They haven't been very good either. I just think that price is ridiculous. I know we're betting on a really horrible team on the other side here with Baltimore, but I got to look at Baltimore in some fashion at that price.
Yeah, and I guess you're onto something. Also, Anthony saying two terrible defenses and pitching staffs. Easy play on the over. You like the over as well, Ian?
Oh, yeah. With these two teams, it's over or nothing. Now, I haven't bet a lot of Baltimore and Seattle overs recently in the short term. I know Seattle overs were a big bet for me earlier in the season. I was on Seattle overs quite a bit. Not so much now. Their lineup is a little bit more weakened with Edwin being traded, but they still might be good enough. Your Domingo Santanas and your Kyle Seagers, guys like this still might be able to hit this Baltimore pitching staff, that's for sure. So yeah, for me, it would be over or nothing. I do not want the under with Baltimore or Seattle now or anytime in the near future.
Good stuff, Ian. We also got some guys like in Twins run line. That's from Daryl Lyles and Neil saying take Texas -1 against my Chi Sox. Top set, what's up? Good morning to you. DJ Big Boss saying fading the Dodgers Saturday afternoon games. Is that because of like shadows, or is there something behind that, DJ Big Boss, or is that just something you've noticed and just kind of auto fade the Dodgers on Saturday afternoons? Let us know in the chat box, guys, and please like the show. If you're liking the content, please give us a thumbs up sign, and if you could share on social media, get the word out on the Saturday morning closing line show, 11 a.m. Eastern time every Saturday for the foreseeable future. So hopefully we can throw out more winners than losers and get people on the right side here. Let us know what you're betting in the chat box. We'll go for a little bit longer here. We got to hit the CFL, and we got best bets coming up as well. Rod, like in the Mariners over 9. Yeah, just talking about it. UFC tonight. Join us on the Sports Keg tonight live. That's from Mr. Fat Fist. So check out the Sports Keg there on YouTube. I believe they got a channel there. Ryu 9-1 from Christopher. Yeah, he's a tough fade. Ryu and the Dodgers. That Dodgers lineup. Yep. Can really smash. But Ian, let's get to CFL, man. We can hit baseball a little bit with best bets as well before we close it out. Hamilton, Toronto, a game you're going to. Short drive, I believe. We got 4.5 now, 52.5 or 53 being the total. Tell us about it, man. Who you looking to bet?
Yeah, one last baseball point. Astros, Yankees, just one game I wanted to bring up. We got two teams going in opposite directions right now. The Astros have certainly been plagued by the injury bug. There's no question. They've been without some key bats. It's starting to catch up to them. You can tell the last few games. They've had a really tough week, swept by Cincinnati, lost the opener to New York. And the Yankees, I'm telling you what, the likes of DJ LeMahieu and Urshela and all these guys kept them afloat offensively. When Stanton and Judge and Hicks, and you go on down the list, all these guys that were injured early in the season, now all of a sudden you get DJ LeMahieu, who's been really good hitter this year for the Yankees. He's now not even in the lineup because you're getting all of these guys back. You got Stanton back. You're going to get Judge back here this weekend. That's sick. It's a sick amount of depth that the New York Yankees have in their lineup right now. It really is. I mean, DJ LeMahieu carried them for a little bit earlier this season when they were all injury riddled. And now all of a sudden, they're getting all these guys back, and I see there's DJ LeMahieu, who's not even in the lineup last night for the first game of this series. So it tells you how ridiculous and stacked this New York offense could be. They're playing absolutely tremendous right now, and they're streaking right now. And Tanaka pitched a gem in his last start against the Rays. He was outstanding. Miley, not so much. That's going to be an interesting game because people are going to look at that and say Houston's plus 150, plus 155. Team that good, getting that big of an underdog price. But as much as that's tempting to take Houston, and I can understand why someone might want to do that, when you got a team on a losing streak, not getting the big hit, not getting the outs when they need them, and the other team is, I don't like going against those two ships going in opposite directions in the night. So until the Yankees lose, I'm not going against them. Even though that price was tempting, and I did a double take when I saw Houston over plus 150 there, I ended up passing on it.
All right, man. Good stuff. So I guess we can hit the
CFL. Yeah, we'll go to that now. Yep.
Okay. Any quick thoughts?
Yeah, CFL Hamilton. I'll be there. It's going to be an exciting game. Overs are 5-1 so far here in the CFL season. Now that doesn't mean every game's going to go over the total, but what I'm noticing is I don't know what it is. Usually the offense or the defenses are ahead of the offenses early in the season in the CFL. That's not been the case this year. There's been a lot of penalties as well, especially defensive penalties. I think that's contributed to the higher scoring nature of the first couple weeks of the season. Again, 5 overs, only 1 under in the games that we've seen so far. I think we're going to have another high scoring game here because you look at Toronto, their offense is going to change this year under Mark Trestman, and I think it's part of why James Franklin struggled with the Argos last year. It was a dink and dunk offense, a lot of short to intermediate passes. Trestman's offensive system was tailored for Ricky Ray and his style of quarterback play. James Franklin's not the best, believe it or not, short to intermediate passer. He's actually more accurate on deep passes, long throws in the pocket. So I think that from what I've read for the Argos, they're going to really try to take some shots down the field this season with this new look offense. Jacques Chapdelaine comes over, offensive coordinator and head coach with the Montreal Alouettes for a little bit. He's the new OC. They're going to try to open it up here, and they're also going to try to rely on running the football more as well with James Wilder Jr. out of Florida State. I think he's a running back that could end up being pretty good for the Argos. I think he's already, fringe top 3 running back in the CFL. He had a very good season last year. I think he's going to be even better. He's going to be featured more, and it's going to put Franklin in good, manageable down and distance situations. They sound, and I like, obviously you got to like the addition of Darrell Walker at wide receiver. He's an impact, legitimate number 1 wide receiver in the CFL, something the Argos didn't have last year, to go with S.J. Green and Armonte Edwards. All of a sudden, they've got a good receiving corps. Can the offensive line be good? They've made some changes there, but the offensive line, I don't think, played all that well last year, so I think it's probably going to be changed for the better. Their defense is still a question mark. It should be better. They brought Sean Lemon back, a guy that was a good pass rusher, was on the defense the year Toronto won the Grey Cup a couple of years ago, should help. But still, it's a new system, new faces. It's a defense that is a little bit revamped from a defense that was the worst in the CFL. Nobody gave up more points last year than the Toronto Argonauts. And you're going to be asked to face a pretty good offense here in your very first game. Hamilton, Jeremiah Masoli. They won't have Luke Tasker. That's a little bit of a concern. One of their better receivers, no question. But they've still got Brandon Banks. They've still got Braylon Addison. They're going to bring in Jalen Acklin and Tucker to fill in for Tasker. Both of those guys played very well in the preseason. So Hamilton still got good options at the receiving spot. Simone Lawrence is going to play. He was supposed to be suspended for 2 games, but they're appealing his suspension for his hit on Zach Collaros last week. So he's going to play until that appeal is heard. So he's going to be in and ready to go for this game. But Toronto looks like they want to play at a little bit faster pace as well. Hamilton as well. Hamilton actually snapped the ball very quick at times last week against Saskatchewan. They'd get up to the line of scrimmage, snap the ball with still about 15 seconds left on the play clock. And, if you're betting totals, you got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Just how quickly the ball gets snapped. Hamilton played with a little tempo. Toronto says they're going to try to maybe play hurry up, not constantly throughout the game, but at spurts in the game, Toronto may be looking to go up tempo as well. So I think the weather's phenomenal for football today. Sunny, beautiful conditions. So over the total, I think we'll see some points today.
Good stuff, man. And what's that shirt? Is that something We Are Hamilton or something?
It is. We are Tiger Cat football. We're going there to win. We're not going there to participate. We're going there to win. Oski wee wee, baby.
Nice, man. And where is it? Is it outdoor stadium?
Yes, it is. BMO Field. It's in Exhibition Stadium or Exhibition Place in Toronto, right by the water. Really nice location there. Smaller stadium, but very, it's outdoors. Again, the weather's going to be perfect. There's not a whole lot of wind. In terms of conditions, it's conditions for offense for sure, because you couldn't ask for better weather for throwing the football and trying to put up points on the board. And should be able to get some points today. Oh, by the way, 4-0 to the over the last 4 head-to-head meetings, the Ticats and Argos. They've had a lot of high-scoring games, all of them 54 points or more. Total here, 53 right now. So if history repeats itself here, should have a good chance to get over the total.
Yeah, man, that's what you're telling me. I mean, we got 4 o'clock football here. I feel like I got to be involved. Seeing 52 and a half still out there. You're saying good weather. Teams talking about snapping it quicker. Last week, Hamilton was snapping it with 15 seconds left on the play clock. You threw out Amani Edwards. I don't know. I feel like all those things say over, Ian.
Yeah, and again, Toronto and Hamilton. Toronto's or Hamilton's put up 30 or more points each of the three meetings last year against the Argos. They completely dissected this Argos defense. I do like Corey Chamberlain. I think Toronto's defense is going to be better. But this is their first game of the season. They're playing a good offense, a good quarterback. And it's like BC. I think BC with Clay Brooks, they're going to be a good defense down the road. I just don't think they're going to be ready to be a good defense in week one or their first game of the season. Actually, even though this is week two, Drew, this is actually Toronto's first game of the season. They didn't play last week. So I don't think that defense is going to gel right away. A lot of changes, new system, just like with BC. Their defense, I think, will be better because they got a defensive guy as the coach. But again, their defense hasn't played good the first 2 weeks. I think we could see that a little bit with the Argos here in this particular football game. So it's going to be interesting to see. Hamilton's laying 4.5. I'll just briefly talk about the side for this game. Hamilton 4.5. I'm not laying it with Hamilton. I'm just going to be a fan. I hope they win. I think they can win. But laying 4.5 on the road's not something I'm in love with doing right now. Toronto's talking the talk. All I've heard from the Argos camp is we're excited. We think we're a lot better football team. We think we've got a lot more cohesion. We think we're going to get out to a pretty good start. So they're confident. They're a confident group for a team that was the worst team in the CFL last year, 4-14, dead last. They're pretty confident going into this game. We'll see if action ends up speaking louder than words on the field today.
Good stuff, Ian. I love hearing that. Tomar saying CFL does a horrible job of marketing. Most people in the U.S. couldn't name a single player in the league. I felt the same way, Tomar. I think they are getting better. Like Ian just said, Armani Edwards, they need to like run with that, you know, and App State stuff. But it's a fun game to watch, man. And like Ian said, a lot pointing towards the over. So if you're looking for football, it's on, I believe, ESPN Plus, like Rod's saying here in the chat box. And it's a fun sport to watch. I'll tell you, it's 3-down football. They're throwing it. It's good stuff. And like Ian was saying as well, what we got Wilder, the running back from Florida State. There's a lot of other names out there. If you just watch this, most likely you'll run into a guy from your favorite college football team up in the CFL. Ian,
the two quarterbacks, just before we go to best bets, James Franklin from Missouri, and of course Jeremiah Masoli played in two different
Ole Miss,
and Oregon, even before he got to Ole Miss, he played at Oregon. So, I mean, you're going to find that a lot. There's going to be names that you recognize on offense and on defense in the CFL. A lot of collegiate players from the college football days end up coming here to play.
Yeah, good stuff. Always fun in the CFL. Guys, please smash the like button. We do got best bets coming up here from Ian Cameron at Bobano on Twitter. He's heading to the game, so we're going to have to hit best bets a little early, but we will be here Saturdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time for the foreseeable future. So come join us every Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern, breaking down that Saturday's sports betting card, mostly MLB, CFL, but we can talk anything else people want to throw out there. Saw a lot of soccer in the chat box. Maybe next week we can talk a little bit more about it, but don't want to waste anybody's time. I haven't bet any soccer on today's slate. More of a fan for me. But Ian, I'll start us off with best bets here. Going to a game we did talk about. We got the Reds and the Brewers, NL Central, Castillo versus Chacin. Minus 120 here for the Brewers. I jumped on the Reds earlier, plus 110, 8.5 or 9 being the total. I like Castillo here. I've been backing him almost all season. You brought up the fact that he is only a little bit over 500, but the Reds in this trend towards 6-7 wins in a row right now, I'm looking to back them. Their bullpen has been pitching very well of late, and in my opinion, they got their best pitcher on the hill, one of the better pitchers, top-line pitchers in MLB right now. So I think we get Castillo on the road, Cincinnati, plus 110, the plus price here. I like the Reds as my best bet today. Bet them personally at plus 110 right before the show. Ian Cameron on Twitter at Bobano. What do you got for best bets, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, if I had obviously I got to go. I got to go with the CFL game for my best bet. Have to. I'm just this time of year CFL guy. But if I had a baseball best bet, Cincinnati would have been in the conversation. San Diego would have been in the conversation. San Diego, Pittsburgh over the total would have been in the conversation. Those are probably the three I like the most in baseball. But for the best bet, on the closing line. We're going to go CFL, and we're going to go to that game we just talked about, Hamilton, Toronto. We're going over the total. 53 here is the best number out there pretty much everywhere across the board. Yes, 53 right across the board is where this total is right now. Again, 4-0 to the over, last 4 head-to-head meetings, all of them 54 or more points. Toronto's talking about opening up the playbook, taking more shots down the field, playing a little hurry up at times. Hamilton, the same thing. They may look to go up tempo at times, again, not throughout the game, but again, 5-1 overs in the CFL so far this season. For the first time in a while, I think it's because the season started earlier this season. Maybe it's because there was actually a CFL mini camp this year, which is a little different from years past. But I think for those reasons, the offenses are more up to speed in the first couple weeks in the season than they've been in years past, and we're seeing it in the way these games have unfolded so far. 5-1 to the over, first 6 CFL games of the season. So Hamilton, Toronto over 53, best bet.
Good stuff, being always fun, man. We got Antoine saying, Ian or Drew, how do you guys feel about the over-under in Houston Yankees? It's not a game I had a lot of interest in. Do you have a bet on the over-under Houston New York Yankees, Ian?
I'd probably actually, I'd go under the total, to be honest with you. Miley, lefty at Yankee Stadium, I don't hate that kind of profile. And Tanaka pitched a gem. Now, Tanaka's also been roughed up, and this is still a capable lineup, even with some key bats out. But I think 10.5 is a little bit too high given the pitching and the bullpens. I mean, Houston's bullpen's pretty solid. Yankees still have a very good bullpen. So when I look at totals, I look even more at games where I think the bullpens could give it up late. That's just as big a part of the handicap for me as looking at the 2 starters. I got to have some kind of belief that the bullpens could give up runs late if I'm going to go over the total. I don't know if we're going to get that with Astros Yankees. So I'd actually lean under 10.5 there.
Okay, good stuff. Magoster in the house. Also, Don Ricci. What's up, guys? Mikey D, Paco Healy. Good show. Thank you for that. El Duque in the house as well. Ian, anything else you want to throw out before you head to the game?
Yeah, Dave Paddock, you hit the nail on the head when it comes to me. I mean, I'm so done with unders now. Like, I took an under the other night, Saskatchewan, Ottawa. I really liked it. I thought the logic going into that was sound. It's the only game I've lost this year from a total standpoint in the CFL. And it wasn't even close. It was over the total in the second quarter. Like I said, it's not that I hate it's not that I don't like betting unders. I want to bet unders. I want to, and if it makes sense, I will. I just don't have any damn success with them. Seriously, I don't. Like, I think I've lost 99 out of 100, every 100 unders that I've bet in my lifetime across all sports. It's insane. It's nuts. I can't explain it, but it is what it is. That's why I'm heavier on the overs than the unders when it comes to betting totals.
And that's one thing in sports betting. Stick to what you're good at, no doubt about it. And I believe there is a 52.5 at Bet Online, minus 115 juice to the over. You want to take that or no, Ian?
What was that again?
52.5 at Bet Online for your Hamilton.
Oh, definitely 52.5. Give me that. Yeah, definitely. Even better.
Right. I didn't know if you had some like superstition against 52.5 or something, but nope. Good stuff, man. The better number.
I'll always take a better number. I'll take a better line by a half point any day of the week.
All right, man. Well, hey, good stuff, guys. In the chat box, it was live. Thank you so much. Please smash the like button on your way out. We'll be back next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time for Ian Cameron heading to the game. Look for him on TV, ESPN Plus in the U.S., probably on TSN in Canada. Not really sure, but follow him on Twitter at Bobano.
Yeah, absolutely. ESPN Plus. And again, ESPN2, ESPN News, ESPN Plus. They've got all the CFL games. One of those networks will have every game this season in the CFL to watch in the United States. So if you want to watch CFL football, check it out. You should all get it.
Good stuff, Ian. At Bobano on Twitter, at Drew Martin Bets on Twitter. Guys, best of luck with your bets today. We'll see you next Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern.